And for more insight on how things might play out this week as the battle for the gavel continues, let's bring in our friend Max Cohen, congressional reporter from Punchbowl News, who's up late with me tonight here on the Final Five. This was a big crapshoot whether or not we were going to get you tonight because we didn't know how many votes there would be. It was one and done today. Are you surprised at that?
I was a little bit surprised because we were not expecting 20 House Republicans to vote for someone other than Jim Jordan during the one and only vote today. You know, if that number is a little bit lower, there might have been a second vote. But what Jordan and his allies realized is if they held another vote today, it likely could have been even more defections. So they're trying to talk to people tonight. They're trying to get people to flip tomorrow, and we'll have a vote early tomorrow morning around 11 a.m. is what we expect.
How important was it for Jordan and the Republicans to do this vote and get everybody on the record today? Because I feel as though that was sort of they were hoping that would be a power play that would sort of strong-arm some of these holdouts. If that was the case, that didn't work.
That's a really great point. One of the Jordan team strategies is put maximum pressure on these defectors back at home, get constituents to call in, get outside conservative media to chime in. But from our reporting, that's really not going to budge some of these people. And Jim Jordan has some pretty major issues here because his detractors, they're moderates, some of them are conservative. Some of them are in vulnerable districts. Some of them in Trump districts. You know, it's not just one group against Jordan right now. He has to fight on many different fronts right now, and that's going to be a challenge.
When we heard that roll call today, we had Kevin McCarthy receive a couple of votes along the way. Steve Scalise got, I believe, a 6 or 7. You had a couple other stragglers here and there. But more notably, McCarthy voted for Jordan. Scalise voted for Jordan. So at least on that end, there seemed to be a united front. But these are guys that it's going to be much harder to go to some of these other Republicans and try to negotiate some sort of conciliatory way to get them to vote for Jordan.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. You know, we had a bunch of people vote for McCarthy, as you mentioned. McCarthy said, hey, look, I'm behind Jordan. And then you talk to some of those members who still voted for McCarthy, and they say, I'm still going to vote for McCarthy, right? It's something we've seen a lot actually in the past couple of weeks is just because the person that a member might be voting for is already back in the guy who's a speaker designee, that doesn't matter to some of these members. And that shows the difficulty here in convincing these members of Congress. And just to back up for a second, what we saw when McCarthy was ousted, you know, you had 8 Republicans voting with all Democrats to oust the Speaker of the House. It shows the power that just a small group of members have. And during the vote today with Jordan, you know, it's a different group of members who are now realizing, hey, if the far right can do it, maybe we can exert our power here in the same way.
So where does it end, Max? I mean, do they do another vote for Jordan here? I mean, is there another consensus candidate building in the background the Republicans can coalesce behind? I mean, clearly there's going to be a lot of talk over the next 12 hours or so. There's already been talk going on. Are you hearing any names?
The name I'm hearing most often as a short-term solution is Patrick McHenry. Now, he's a speaker pro tem. That's a temporary position filling in. He cannot bring anything to the floor. What I think is the most likely next step is Jordan has another vote tomorrow. It doesn't go well for him. And Republicans start to realize if we want to give aid to Israel, if we want to pass appropriations bills, if we want to get aid to Ukraine, we need to give Speaker Pro Tem McHenry temporary powers. I think that's the most likely solution now because the Republicans have said to me, and as becoming increasingly clear, it doesn't look like there's anyone who can get 217 Republican votes right now. Yeah.
You mentioned Israel, and let's talk about what we see playing out at this hour, at this day. It's really striking to see the dichotomy of what was playing out in Congress today versus what's happening halfway around the world. And clearly, the United States wants to offer some sort of aid here. Clearly, there's some motion or some movement to do that. They cannot do any of that right now.
100% correct. And I think the House Foreign Affairs Chairman Michael McCall summed this up best when he was talking to me today. He said, listen, the world's on fire. Things are going wrong all over the globe, and we can't even get our act together in the House. And that's how many Republicans see it. They just want this thing over with. They want someone to step in and get the business of the House running because, as you mentioned, number of international crises, which some say require American help, that we have to do right now on our checklist. And the House is paralyzed.
What time, do we have a time for tomorrow? Is it going to be in the morning? Is it going to be an afternoon vote?
11 a.m. is what we're told to expect a vote. It takes probably 45 minutes to an hour to read all the names. So I think by noon tomorrow, we'll have a very good idea of whether Jordan has any path forward. It's going to be a tall task if he wants to continue forging this path towards to be the speaker, because he has to flip a lot of people. So tomorrow around noon, I think we'll have a much better idea.
I think what's striking is tomorrow morning, we're going to see our 17th ballot for House Speaker this year alone. That's insane, but we'll see how that all plays out. Max, I know you got a busy day ahead of you tomorrow, and all your colleagues at Punchbowl. We appreciate it. Good to see you again.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
And the Final Five is back after this.